Hey, good evening, and welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. Now, your host, Ace.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Uptown Parlay Podcast. I am your host. I'm Malik. Once again, I am hosting. Once again, I'm in the host chair, but Ace is here. Just the Ace was here last week, but he just, he was in and out last week, but he's here today. And I'm also joined by Anthony. What's
What's
going on,
up?
fellas? How y'all doing today?
All right. I'm doing great. Awesome.
I'm
Doing
back.
better than you are back. You are back. Are you back for good, or you're in and out?
I'm
Yes,
going to
he's
be
in
in
and
and
out.
out this episode because there's a lot going on here today. But yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'll be here with the picks.
And he says he's him.
He'll be here for the important part. Exactly. He's like, he's like Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
Kinda like Aaron
no.
Rodgers.
No, I
Yeah,
am not like Aaron Rodgers.
he shows up after
No.
Egypt.
He's in his ayahuasca. He's on his ayahuasca, retreat. And he shows up,
Out of the darkest.
makes a couple of bad picks, and then he cuts out again.
How dare you? And my picks were solid, by the way.
No, but yeah, before we get into the picks, we're gonna recap real quick. A recap last week. So last week, everybody did all right. We picked 13 games in total last week. Ace went 8-ace, and myself went 8-5. And Levon went 6-7. So just around that.
And you know it.
I was just trying to make
50-60%
LeVon feel
mark.
good, so he can be still in the mix.
But really quick, but in best bets, Ace went 5-0 in his best bets. So I hope you guys got those best bets in. Ant went 3-2. I went 4-1, and Levon only did 2 best bets last week, so he went 1-1. So did a pretty good last week. So see if we can build on that this week and make some good picks. So week 8 is underway. Right now we're recording while the Vikings and Rams are playing. They're tied 14 all. And who do we like so far in this game? Who do we like in terms of winning this game out? It's tied up, so it's basically 0-0 at this point.
I
I'm
think
going
I
to say
said
the
I was going
Rams because I think I picked them.
Yeah, I think I picked the Rams as well. I put the Rams.
I'm counting on Kyron Williams to come through for me tonight. That's
I'm
pretty
kind
much
of
it.
Puka for my fantasy.
Well, so far
Yeah.
so good. We got Cooper Kupp back on the team. Puka's back as well. Although it sounded like when I read the previews for the game, it sounds like Puka's on limited snaps. So, well, he's not on his normal snap count. So, I guess we'll see what winds up happening with that. But, yeah, looks like the game is competitive. It's good all the way through. So, I hope you guys are enjoying it if you laid some money on it. But let's go ahead and shift over to Sunday. To kick us off, we've got the Ravens at the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens are the road favorite, giving 8.5, an over-under of 44.5 points here. Just to note, these numbers are coming from FanDuel Sportsbook. So that's the lines. Obviously, your lines may be different where you're betting, but I just want to let you guys know this is where we go for our lines. So FanDuel Sportsbook is what we're reading from. So we've got Ravens minus 8.5 at the Browns. The Browns are starting a new quarterback because their old quarterback, not only was he bad, but he's got himself hurt. Unfortunately, Deshaun Watson's out for the season, torn Achilles, and they didn't wind up going to Jameis Winston during that game. They actually went to the rookie at some point in time during the game, but during that game. But now they're going to go ahead and start Jameis Winston, and it looks like Jameis Winston will be the starter for the remainder of the season. Meanwhile, the Ravens, they took care of business last week in Tampa Bay, won by 10 points, 140-131. Derrick Henry had another monster game running the ball, including a 80-plus yard run, and it looks like they can't be stopped. But let's see if they at least can cover this number. So, Ace, I'm gonna start with you since I want to make sure you're able to get your pick in. Ravens at Browns. What do you got?
The Browns are terrible, and they're going to be starting Jameis Winston, who will probably throw 2 touchdowns, but will also throw 2 picks. So that being said, if you can pick up the Ravens defense or any of their cornerbacks on an IDP play for your fantasy team, do that. They're probably going to get a pick 6. So I'm going to go with the Ravens to cover this. I think they're going to, if they can beat down Tampa in Tampa, they should be able to beat the brakes off of Cleveland. Anything else would be kind of shocking. So as long as they got to win by 10 and not more, as long as it's like -9, right? That's what we're talking here.
8.5.
They should be pretty golden. Yeah, 8.5. So get on that early before that number jumps up to like 10, 10.5. Because that's what I'm seeing in terms of money swings, like that. So yeah, they're pretty solid, and they will be ruling that division unless somehow they lose to Pittsburgh. But I don't know. That's later down the road season. But yeah, take the Ravens.
Yeah.
They're good to go.
It's been 8.5. Well, the news on Deshaun Watson being out is pretty well known from way back on Sunday. So
yeah, the
number
injury with
hasn't
the
moved.
Achilles.
Yeah, the number hasn't moved that much over the course of the week. So it'll probably still be, unless there's another injury.
But
or
also,
something
it's losing
extra.
Amari Cooper as well, who was there. He's the
Right.
only receiver or player on the team who actually had 2 touchdowns before they traded him. So
Yeah.
they traded their whole offense, and the rest of their offense got hurt. So yeah, I don't see how this gets better for them.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying I don't see the line moving because all that everything that's surrounding the Browns right now, we've already known for the last 5 days. So I'm just saying, like, I don't expect the line to move very much if it hasn't moved already. Amp, what about you?
Yeah, I do want to make the emotional pick and go the other way and pick the Browns on this one because of the Jameis Winston Winston type of thing, take it over, whatever, for massage man, whatever. But actually, you know what? Let me stop the jokes because I was kind of wrong. But anyway, I'm gonna do the smart thing here. I'm gonna pick the Ravens on this one. I don't think they're gonna win. Actually, you know what? They are gonna win a lot. They want to take the Ravens in the over in this one, especially from looking at how last week's game is gonna go. And just Ace brought it up or whatever about the team. Basically, the Browns are in a fire sale mode right now. Let's see what happens on that one. So I'm taking the Browns in the over in this one. This is gonna be my first. I mean, not the Browns, Ravens in the over. This is gonna be my first lock of the week.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that you should say that because one of the you were mentioning not wanting to bring up old wounds, I guess, with respect to Watson. One of the fixes, he's going to have to get a lot of massages of that leg.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring that up.
In terms of recuperation, from the injury. Once the swelling goes down, there's a lot of his recovery is going to require working on it and then getting it rubbed down. So
not to make no jokes out of it. I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, but he's going to end up with a dude doing it because there's no way there's going to be a woman walking in there.
Oh, I doubt that. Yeah, it's probably going to be somebody from the team, and I don't know if they have females on their medical staff, but they might.
There's going to be some strong brawly man.
Yeah, I'm back in the Ravens as well and locking this one in too. I don't usually like to take large swings like this, especially on the road. But as you guys both mentioned, it's kind of hard to back the Browns in this situation. Jameis Winston, we've seen him be good and bad in the same games. We've seen him throw touchdowns, throw pick sixes. Expect some more of that to happen. And the fact of the matter is, the Ravens just look like the best team, one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL. Definitely, probably the most dangerous team in the NFL, which with what they're able to do with Lamar and Derrick Henry,
both MVP candidates too.
Exactly.
I would like to point out Nick Chubb is healthy, but Nick Chubb's healthy, but he's working his way back in. So the likelihood that Nick Chubb makes a huge difference on the offense in this, I don't know, but I guess it's a possibility. But it seems unlikely that he'll help them be able to cover.
Let's see what happens.
And Nick Chubb being healthy, Jerome Ford, the backup running back, is out. So we'll see if that winds up happening too, because Jerome Ford was carrying the load for them when Nick Chubb went down and had been playing some pretty significant snaps for them. So and he looks like he's out. He's going to be out for this game.
Oh
As well.
boy, somebody's hurting on the Vikings.
Oh well. All right. Next game is the Tennessee Titans visiting my Detroit Lions.
Slaughterhouse.
The Titans are right now 11-point underdogs. Actually, 11 and a half now on FanDuel. 11 and a half point underdogs going to Detroit. So this one, interesting. The Titans lost last week. I'm sorry, they won last week against. No, did they win last week? No, they lost. I'm sorry, they lost last week. I'm mixing up their game with the Miami game. They lost last week, and the Lions had a huge victory against the Minnesota Vikings, who are playing right now. And Tennessee's defense, while it is their strength, I think they're going to face their toughest task to date against Goff, St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, and the rest of the Lions offense. Jamison Williams is out for this game. He's been suspended by the league for some PED use. He's got the 2-game suspension, but the Lions still should have more than enough firepower to scare any defensive coordinator. And on the other side, we've seen the Titans offense look really shaky. Levis has been a turnover machine, and the Lions have 2 ball hawking safeties in Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, who each have 4 interceptions on the season. So they'll be hunting the Titans here. I'll take the Lions to cover this. I think there's the Lions and the over. I think some points will be scored on the Titans side, but I think the Lions get over 30 and are able to cover that number of 45 and a half. I'm not going to best bet it because I don't like best betting lines that are this high, but I'm definitely going to take the Lions and the over. And what say you?
Is Levis actually playing? I thought he was out.
Is Levis if he's out, then Mason Rudolph will be the starter.
But either way, they're both garbage. But I'm taking the Lions and the over in this one because you don't want to put the lock on it, so I'll just do it for you. I'm coming back on the Lions bandwagon after I left last week. That was a bet. That was quite kind of silly of me. But anyway, just for that, I'm taking the Lions and over and making this my second lock of the week.
All right. Ace.
I'm here.
Lions, Titans.
Oh, I know. I'm listening. I'm taking the Titans. This is too much for the Lions to cover. They were blowing out teams when they had a great pass rush. They're going to be playing a lot closer games. The only teams they blew out were, I think it was Dallas, which was very obvious. That was a national game, and everybody saw them beat them down on them. I think without Hutchinson, they're going to struggle to get pressure, and I think Mason Rudolph will be able to dink his dunk his way down the field. They got rid of DeAndre Hopkins because they needed the pick, but they still have Calvin Ridley, and they still have a pretty good running back. So expect them to lose by, let's say, even just 10 points, and they'll still be able to cover. So I'm taking them on the backdoor cover, and I'm not locking this in, but the Lions will win, but I just don't see them beating them by like 14 plus points. So I'm going to take Titans here. Being a little bit different, but yeah, I think their running backs are still pretty good, and they should be able to get something done. Their defense isn't terrible, so
No, the defense
it
isn't
just depends
terrible.
on how hard Detroit plays. Like I think Detroit may overlook them and like ease into a victory.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't. That's one thing I think, based off of what I've seen from this team so far, has not been something that they do, which is they don't overlook their opponent. They've been accustomed to being overlooked themselves over the course of decades, and so that's part of the reason why they don't spend time overlooking their opponents. They focus on the opponent at hand. They focus on the game at hand, and they do their best to not focus on what's coming, even though there's a very big game on the horizon at Green Bay coming up next for the Lions. All right, next game: Colts at Texans. Texans are favored by 5.5 here. The Texans are coming off a loss against the Green Bay Packers last week in Green Bay, and the Colts are coming off of a ugly win in their game against the Miami Dolphins last week. It's tough to sweep division opponents. So this is the second meeting of these two teams. Houston won last week. Houston won in week 1 against the Colts in Indianapolis. So this one's in Houston now. But we'll see what happens here, because Anthony Richardson is starting, and I think if Flacco was starting, I would probably. And Flacco did lose in the game when he was the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns last season in the playoffs, the last time they went to Houston. But this is a different team that he's taking over. Ace, I'm going to start with you here. Colts at the Texans, 5.5 points given to the Indianapolis Colts. What do you think?
The important thing here is that Joe Mixon is healthy, as is the running back for the Colts. So just because of that, I'm leaning towards the Texans to win by a touchdown. I'm going to take them because I think they're more consistent.
Okay. Yeah.
Corey, it seemed like a little trend here. I can't believe I'm doing this again, but I'm taking the Texans in the over. This is going to be a beatdown because last week the Colts faced against Miami, who basically has no offense, and they barely put up any points with them. Texans is a different breed here. Texans is going to want to get back or right that ship from what happened to them last week. So definitely going to go with Texans and the over in this one. I'm not going to make this a lot because Corey didn't want to save some for later on.
Yeah, I actually don't like the 5.5 here. I'm gonna run with the Colts and the under. These two teams, they play each other. They played each other close the last 3 times that they played one another. And the Colts kind of understand who they are and what they are. They need to keep the score close. They need to keep the score low. They'll try to dominate time of possession. They'll try to run the clock with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, they wound up winning last week against the Dolphins. And Anthony Richardson completed 41% of his passes. Like 41%. That's not just like kind of low. That's like historically low in terms of, pass completion. And they still won the game. And they win by, running the football and defending the run. And yes, you're right. You're right, Ace. Jonathan Taylor is playing. He looks like he'll be out there. And if he's going to be out there, I feel good about the Colts, just keeping it relatively close and maybe losing something like 21-17, 24-20, something along those lines. So I'll take the Colts and the under.
It's more the fact that Pittman's not going to be there, and they're going to have to count on big playability. So if Richardson gets lit up trying to take off on a run and Will Anderson meets him on the corner, it's going to be a problem. And he ran for a touchdown and threw for 2 last time, and they only lost by 2 points because Houston hit a field goal. That was week 1. And that was probably one of the best games I think I've seen all year on Red Zone and all of it. But, I'm just counting on the fact that whenever Mixon plays, Houston's a much, much better team. So that's really what it's counting on, is Joe Mixon and C.J. Stroud to just make more plays because they're more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that Houston wins this game, especially at home. But I could definitely see the Colts keeping it close. All right, Packers at Jaguars. And I'm going to start with you here. Packers are the road favorite, giving 4.5 points to the Jaguars team. It's just getting back off of their London trip. The Jaguars won last week against New England. Looked pretty good doing it, offensively at least. Made some decent plays, but they take a step up in class, to say the least, playing against the Packers team that's looking like one of the top 3 teams in the conference. So Packers, Jaguars. Packers minus 4.5. What are you thinking?
I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to take the Packers at the under this one. Even though the Jaguars came back from London, they should have a little bit of jet lag from being there for 2 weeks with in London. I still think the Packers can actually pull this one out, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout type of thing. One fun fact that they just added this week, I don't know if y'all noticed it. They actually added former Jets head coach Robert Saleh to be like more of like a consultant for the offense to see how things are from a defensive perspective type of thing. So I want to see how that pans out with him being on their staff now, if they actually make any type of changes or any type of improvements on this. But back to the
that's
game, I'm going to
bullshit.
go Packers in the under.
How's he allowed to help out the Packers all of a sudden? The hell is this?
He's a coach. He's not a player.
Yes, and
And the
He
thing
was
is that
fired.
that's
He's
my
not under
point.
he's
contract
They're
fired.
anymore.
not. They're not.
He's
They're
just
not paying him. What the hell's going on? It's
He
cheating.
was
it,
fired, so he's not under contract anymore.
yeah, he's just with his best buddy, that they went to, hang out all the time. They grew up together or whatever. I don't know how long ago they know each other, but they've been at each other's best men at their weddings and stuff like that. You know, if I lived in Boston, if I moved to Boston,
As a Bears
I
fan,
know
I'm
you want
not.
me to hang out.
As a Bears fan, I'm not. I'm not a fan of this. I'm just saying.
If I came to Boston, Ace, you would want me to hang out your job and stuff like that and get paid, right? Come on now, it's the same
I
thing. He
mean,
got,
Yeah, I
I
took
got
you
fired
out,
from
but
here, and
still.
see that that's what happened there. You got the hookup. I know y'all guys might hate it because he came to y'all division or whatever, but he ain't really doing anything. He's just being a little consultant, giving a little pointers from the defensive point of view. Ain't like he's gonna be the defensive coordinator for the Packers yet.
even if he was, I think he'd be a little shell shocked from his experience playing with, coaching the Jets. I don't know if I want to see him on the sideline yet. If I was a Packer fan, because if you do, that means that there's a problem with the current DC, and the current DC is doing really good. The Packers are doing really good, so I'm not. I don't think there's a need to make a change at any point at that position anytime soon. I'm going with the Packers as well. I think the Packers are clearly the better team. I do think it's very interesting that the Jags are, coming home to Jacksonville after the 2-week hiatus. I was surprised that they didn't take their bye this week, coming off of that situation. But the fact that they're just kind of jumping right back in and getting into the game against the Packers doesn't sit well with me as it pertains to this. So I'm rolling with the Packers here as well. And I think 4.5 points is more than enough to lay. I think this will be a pretty lopsided game. I could see the Packers win this by 10 or more points. So give me the Packers, and I'll take the under. Ace, what about you?
I'm going to take Jacksonville, and I'm taking the over. What they did in London let me know that they're not completely devoid of talent, and that they're a little bit more focused, and they're getting all on the same page. Also, if Robert Saleh is helping them on the defensive end, I can't imagine that will help. And Tank Bigsby was able to run all over that team out in London, and them playing on natural grass back when they get to Jacksonville. I think their fans will be excited, and they're going to try to turn their season around. So they know what's on the line, and they know they can't let up. So they're not going to let this one slide. So I got to take Jacksonville. I'm going to take them getting the points. Home dog got points at home. I like that. So that's what I'm doing.
You sure it's not no hate there, Ace?
How many points are they getting? It's still 5.5, right?
It's 4.5 right now.
Yeah. So if they lose by a field goal, then I'm good. I'm not locking it in, but I'm just telling you, like, that's how I like this, because they're at home and they're coming off of a win. And the Packers just played an emotional game that they had to win. So we will see.
No, I'm
Yeah,
just pulling
and
his
and-
chain, Ace. I'm just
Oh,
pulling
I
your chain,
know.
Ace.
I do hate on the Packers a little bit. I do. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but they're not as good as everybody says they are. I'm just saying.
It looks like the betters are with Ace on this, because this line did start out at 5.5, and I've seen it as low as 3.5 in some places. So it looks like the money's coming in on the Jaguars.
That may
So
be because
far
of the weather too, because it's supposed to be very, very hot in Jacksonville.
Got it. Okay. All right, Ace, I'm gonna start with you on this next one. Cardinals at Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3-point favorites at home. They're giving the home 3 to the Cardinals. Neither one of these teams looked great last week. The Dolphins lost their game to the Colts, and the Cardinals squeaked away a victory on Monday Night Football against the Chargers. That said, it looks like Tua is going to be back for the Dolphins. And so, despite the fact that they've been able to run, pretty effectively over the last 2 weeks, they've, run for almost 200 yards in both of those games. Their passing offense has been absolutely inept. They haven't been able to move the ball at all from that standpoint. So they should be welcoming getting back Tua as the quarterback for the Dolphins, provided that he can finish the game, stay healthy, and finish the game out. So Dolphins -3 against the Cardinals. Ace, what do you got?
The fact that the Dolphins are -3 is the reason why I'm taking the Cardinals and I'm locking them. I know it's Tua's first game back, and they should be a lot better, right? Like I'm not discounting that, and he's a much better quarterback. Like they can't win without him. They really need to invest in a good backup quarterback. I thought Snoop would be able to like get them a win, but he didn't. And it seems like Achan and Mostert are both healthy. Tyreek Hill is dealing with some kind of ankle injury, but we'll see. But I like the fact that Kyler Murray was able to pull out that win with just guile and luck and breaking off a 44-yard touchdown. For whatever reason, he's not like making a good connection with Marvin Harrison Jr., which is not helping me in my fantasy team. But hey, I digress. It is what it is. But I think I think Arizona getting them points on the road should help. So I'm gonna lean on Arizona, and I'm gonna lock this one in for my first lock of the week.
All right, and
How much did you pay Ace for that? In quite dynasty league for what's the name? Marvin Harrison.
Like 150 something
Yeah, he's not paying him
out of
out
my
well.
$400 budget.
But I'm going to go the opposite way here because I think Miami's whole offense runs through Tua, and I think that this is going to be a statement game for them to show that they're still in the hunt as far as playoff hunt is concerned. They might be, I think, in third place right now or second place in the division. I can't remember exactly which one, but they're going to start. This is where they're going to try to start making a push. And Tua is definitely focused on coming back, even though a lot of people is telling him that he should be staying away from this. But I can see him stepping back in like nothing's actually ever went away. So I'm going to go. This is going to be my third lock of the week. I'm going to take Miami. I'm going to take the over. I think this is going to be a blowout because I've been game.
yeah, I could see where that I could see that playing out like that. And I kind of like the Cardinals in this just to keep things within the number. Um, I think there's obviously going to be um some trepidation from into some part of like just throwing Tua out there and the kind of just kind of the Dolphins offense just getting back to what they once were. I'm not saying that they can't do it. They can't absolutely do it. I think they absolutely can. And it might very well be a huge Dolphins victory here to just kind of set the tone. But the Cardinals defense hasn't been bad. They looked pretty good against the Chargers on Monday night at home. And I know I watched them specifically when we played them in week 3, and they didn't play too bad there as well. So I think they can make some things difficult for the Miami offense. And if you pair that with the fact that Kyler Murray just seems to have a little bit of magic in him whenever you keep the game close, that's going to be something that's going to allow them to keep the game relatively close to the number. So I like. I think I think you're right. The Dolphins could definitely blow the doors out over here. But I wouldn't bank on it. So I'll take the Cardinals and the under here. All right, next game. Anthony's beloved, maligned Jets. Going to New England.
Yeah, going to New
Yes,
England.
they are going to New England. The Jets are 7-point favorites on the road against the Patriots. Interesting storyline here. Obviously, the Patriots are starting. This is the third start for young Mr. Drake May. He's been really good, surprisingly really good over the first 2 games. He's just been plagued by a poor defense on the other side. This is the first time, I believe. I think I read a stat that it was the first time in history. First off, it's only the second time in the history of the NFL that a quarterback has thrown for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns in his first 2 weeks. The first time it happened was Mark Rippon in 1980 something when Mark Rippon first started. But it's also one of the first times, and I can't remember what the numbers are, but it's one of the first times that this player has thrown for that many yards in his first 2 starts and been blown out in both of those games. And that tells you everything that you need to know about where the Patriots are headed, both as an organization and as a team this year. So Jets and Patriots, obviously the Jets are trying to rebound from the loss last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers and just put some positive publicity on their names. I don't know if a win in New England will do that, but it's a start. You got to start somewhere. So Anthony, start with you. Jets at Patriots. Jets -7. What do you got?
I don't even know if it's going to be a win because the thing is that there's so many turmoils going around. You got Ulbrich is basically taking over as coach. He's basically doing the head coaching duties and the defensive coordinator's duties. He seems like he's still trying to get a handle of this. I gotta see what happens there. And yeah, the Patriots might have got beaten by them. That's the last time the Jets won. It was against these same Patriots team. But actually, this is actually a different Patriots team now because you just mentioned about Drake May. He's going to be the starter. It's not going to be Jacoby
Brissett.
Jacoby Brissett playing. The whole different team right now. We'll have to see what happens, but it's going to easily be another loss, and they just kind of go on a 4-game losing streak, and you know more down the rabbit hole. But this is quite. Last week it was supposed to be the Jets must-win game. This is even more of a must-win because this is a divisional rival. I'm actually going to take the Patriots in this inning. I'm going to take the Patriots by 3. And take the Patriots in under. But it's what I'm not going to make this a lock. I'm just going to leave it alone and see what happens, whatever. I'm not going crazy like these other Jet fans, whatever, but I want to see what happens. I just want to see how things pan out. Right now, I'm a little disappointed in this team because they basically, like other people have been saying throughout the what's the name, the sports media, this is just a collection of players right now. They're not actually a team. Until they become a team, I can't really I can still root for them, but I'm not gonna push for harder and try to be delusional about it. But I'm gonna take the Patriots. I'm gonna take the under of this one. Like I said, I'm not gonna make this a lot. Wow, Ace just came out of nowhere and actually showed his face. So I must have really sparked his interest. He must have been in the bedroom somewhere in a different room. He just ran over back to the camera and just like, wait a minute, what the hell? Anthony picking against the Jets? Wow.
Seriously, I'm in my kitchen, which is why you hear the crazy echo. But yeah, I'm all over this. I am all over this. Listen, I'm taking the Jets and I'm locking them in. This is my second lock of the week. I got Arizona and I got the Jets. I'm not actually betting this game, but that's why the Jets are going to win. Because they're going to blow out the Patriots because Aaron Rodgers is always good for beating one team in the division over and over again, and that will be the Patriots. They don't have their defense together, and Bill Belichick was talking crazy about his former coach, who he picked to replace him, which is kind of funny. He's like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what kind of program. He's calling those guys soft. They weren't soft last year when we were number 3 in rushing defense. So I don't know what the problem is. Now they're like 28. So if Brees Hall can get going, then that opens up so much more. With another week under their belt, maybe Devontae Adams gets some more rest. Him, Lazard, and Garrett Wilson all get on the same page, and they start throwing some more TDs out there. But Patriots are in kind of a problem because their captain of their defense on their safety, Jabril Peppers, got arrested for last week's game for a little bit of nose candy, allegedly. So that may be affecting him and the rest of the team's performance. It might have been a little distracted. I don't know any details about this, but it was reported on local news and national media. So yeah, I'm leaning on the Jets on this one. I think
it was Halloween candy, Ace. Halloween candy, not nose candy.
Allegedly. So whatever it is, luck to him, and but I think the Jets are going to be able to get this one done, even if it is up here in New England.
Yeah, I kind of lean on the Jets here as well. 7 points is a lot. That I will say that 7 points is a lot to try to cover, especially on the road. But this is the type of game, to your point, it's a must-win game. They don't have a choice but to win this game. And to me, to win this game convincingly, for people to kind of lay off a little bit on whether or not they're, just completely fake. And they still might say it. Like the Jets could win this game by 30 points and people will still go, I don't care. It was the Patriots. It doesn't matter. The Jets have lost 4 straight. The Patriots have lost 6 straight. So one of these teams is going to break a losing streak. I just tend to think that the Jets are the ones that are going to do it. Not a lock for me because I could absolutely see, to Ant's point, I could absolutely see this game being relatively close. And we get a really good game, another good game out of Drake May that keeps it within the number. But the fact of the matter is, Drake May has probably played about as good of he's probably had about as good of a start for 2 games as you could possibly have for a rookie. And both times they've lost by, 3 scores. So, I think that this is one of those ones that again, we could see a pretty good output from the from the Patriots side of things. and the Jets still just handle business. The one thing I will say about the Jets so far is this week, we had both Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams calling out the Jets for their lack of passion, lack of energy, lack of just excitement for the game and trying to bring that back. So
Yeah, is that
maybe
what
for
he
1 week
meant
they
when he
do that.
talked about accountability? Was his accountability to call out his teammate? Is that what he meant?
Maybe I mean, I don't think he was, but I think he was talking about his accountability on the field and like making plays. But calling out his teammates, he seems to be pretty good at that. He seems to be pretty good at holding himself accountable
Hall
for
of
calling out
Fame,
his
first
teammates.
ballot. Hall
He's
of Fame,
pretty good at
first
doing
ballot on
that.
that.
Um, I mean, Mike Williams didn't get it this week, but somebody's always going to get it. But yeah,
Let me
so
ask
I
y'all
think the
something though
Jets.
before you finish, Malik.
Go ahead.
Did Drake May win a game yet?
No, he has not won a game yet.
Yeah, you know how the Jets usually are, right? They usually open up the doors for those type of things. I'm just saying. I'm just gonna put that there.
Look, Ed, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it. It feels like the smart money here would be to take the Jets. The smart money would here would be to take the under. That's probably the smartest money that I would say. But I'm going to take the Jets. I'll take the under, and I'm locking this in as well. It's my second lock of the week. All right, Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons are 2.5 point favorites, and this is likely due to the Buccaneers losing both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin during the game last week against the Baltimore Ravens. Looks like Mike Evans will be down for at least 3, possibly more weeks, and Chris Godwin is out for the season after dislocating his ankle with, I think it was like 40 seconds left in that game. Something ridiculous, something like that. It's really sad when that happens because it's not like they were winning that game. They were not going to come back. Probably should have had him off the field, and unfortunately that happens. But anyway, the Bucks at home again, looking to bounce back from a Monday night loss. So this is on a short week, and the Falcons just finished getting boat raced by the Seattle Seahawks. So this is an interesting one because both of these teams look like they're trying to, take control of things in the NFC South, and they both need this win to kind of, re-solidify themselves. Obviously, the Buccaneers need this a little bit more than the Falcons because the Falcons beat them a couple of weeks ago in Atlanta. So let's make the pick. Ace, Falcons at Buccaneers, 2.5 point favorites. Who do you got?
I cannot name a receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers outside of Cade Otton at tight end. I do not know who they're going to start. Mike Evans is hurt. Like they're 67% of their passing offense. So who is coming off the bench? Because the dude that the Scotty, whatever his name was, who was there when they won the Super Bowl, he's gone. So I don't know who their third wideout is. So just on the strength of that alone, I got to go with Atlanta. But last week, who? Tell me.
Last week, their third receiver was Sterling Shepard, former New York Giant. He
Ooh,
was
okay.
the third receiver on the field, and they have another kid, last name by the name of McMillan. I can't remember his first name. I think he's a rookie.
Wait, Nick McMillan?
I don't know his first name.
All right.
I don't know his first name, but
No, he played. He played for the University of Buffalo. That's why I'm like, I didn't know he was in the league. Well, he was pretty good, but I didn't know he
um
was. I didn't know he was in the league. I'm looking him
I
up right
can
now. Go ahead.
find out the name, but yeah, McMillan was the last name. I remember seeing him on the field towards the end of that game against the Ravens. So those are the two names that I know of in terms of being involved in the Tampa Bay passing offense this week.
Jalen McMillan out of Washington, rookie,
Jalen McMillan. Yeah, I say yeah, like I said, he was a rookie.
third
So
rounder. You know what? I'm sticking to that, and I'm gonna lock it in. Baker Mayfield is really good, but he takes a lot of chances. He has 18 touchdowns and 1,800 yards through 7 games, which I got to be honest, I'm impressed by. Completing 70% of his passes. It's really not him. It's just the fact that they're going to be limited in who they can throw the ball to. So unless Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker, and Rashad White just have the most amazing rushing game ever, they still got Bijan and Drake London and Mooney and Pitts on that other side. So yeah, Atlanta's going to win this game by a field goal. Pretty confident in that. So I'm going to lock in Atlanta. And I'm going to take the over on this one because Tampa Bay loves to get into shootouts. So you can count on that. I think the over is the more solid pick.
So it's funny because you don't know who the hell they're going to throw the ball to, but you're taking the over.
Atlanta's defense has been so bad. Like, yo, yeah, I know it sounds nuts. I know. But Atlanta's 4-3, and I just want to go through their schedule. They played 26-24 with New Orleans. They played a 38-20 game with Carolina. They gave up. Okay, so if they give up 20 points to Carolina, Andy Dalton threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks, and Chuba Hubbard had 92 yards. If they can do that, if Carolina can do that to them, I'm pretty confident Tampa can score 2 or 3 TDs, even if they put up 38 points. So it's going to go over 46. Yeah. Okay. Defense is not their strong suit.
And what about you?
After last week when y'all convinced me to pick Atlanta and I wound up picking Atlanta over Seattle, who wound up, showing me what I should have just stuck with them. I'm gonna pick the Tampa Bay, and I think they're gonna take Tampa Bay on the over. Could be Baker Mayfield and 2 people that was grocery shop packing boys last week, whatever, grocery shopping packing boys last week, newspaper salesmen or whatever, and they'll still whip Atlanta's behind. If you're talking about, this is definitely a game that I will not bet on, but I'm just gonna leave it alone on that when I'm taking Tampa Bay in the over.
This is an interesting one because Ace making some good points about Tampa Bay. I do respect the hell out of Tampa Bay. I mean, this is the only team so far that's beaten my Lions. They walked into Detroit, and at that time their entire defense was decimated. They had lost a bunch of guys on their team, and they lost Vita Vea during the game, and they were still able to get that victory. And now this week they don't have their offense, but their defense has gotten a little healthy. Winfield has come back, and they've gotten some of their guys back on that side of the ball. But now they don't have their offense, and we've known Baker Mayfield to be resilient. We've known him to be, a good quarterback, not just a okay quarterback, an actually good quarterback in the NFL right now. So with the addition of their running game, I mean, it stands to reason. I mean, this team scored 31 points against the Baltimore Ravens defense, which is not the best defense on the planet right now, but still a pretty solid defensive group. And so I expect that they should be able to stay close to the Falcons in a hotly contested divisional matchup here. But I think you're right, Ace. I think the Falcons can win this game by 3. I think Younghoe Koo being has I've seen enough clutch performances of his, kicking field goals at the end of game for winning the Falcons a game. And if they're going to win this division, this is the type of game that they have to win to
Speaking of him, did you hear how Chad Ochocinco pronounced his name?
No, I didn't.
You got to see that clip with him and Dion and Shannon. It is hilarious because Dion's like, that is not that man's name. That is not that man's name. You said it correctly, but if you say it how it's spelled exactly, it's like that is not that man's name.
Oh, okay. Younghoe Koo.
Pretty much, yes. And I was just laughing for like a solid 10 minutes.
Oh, that sucks.
It was priceless.
It's the people that we put on
TV. He's a star in Atlanta, man. He's out there winning games.
No, I'm just saying the people that we put on TV nowadays, like the commentators that we put on TV nowadays.
It was on their nightcap show.
I kid you not. I just can't. It bothers me to my core to listen to Tom Brady continue to badger the names of some of these players. Last week he was calling Juju Smith-Schuster Smith. It happened like 3 times. It's just really bad, man. Some of these guys just please just stop it, okay? I can't remember the other name that that Brady badgered. I think it was last week again, the Lions Cowboys game. But it's getting really bad. Anyway, I'll take the Falcons here. I'm not going to lock this in, but I think the Falcons can cover the 3. I think this number is small enough that they can get a solid win and get out of Tampa Bay, who's just really banged up at this point. Eagles, Bengals. Bengals are hosting the Eagles. The Eagles are just coming off of their 28-3 victory in the revenge game of all revenge games. Saquon Barkley going to MetLife and putting
The
a
Giants
hurting on the
stink.
Giants, putting a real hurting on the Giants, 176 yards, which I believe, if I remember correctly, was a record for the number of rushing yards of a player against his old team in his first game back. So Saquon really did his thing. The Eagles didn't look great otherwise. They didn't throw the ball very well, and they're playing against a really the difference between the Giants and the Bengals is the Bengals can score some points. Bengals can score some points, and they can score some points in a hurry, and we know that about them. So this will be a good test for the Eagles defense. See what they can do on the road against Cincinnati. Cincinnati Bengals are 2.5-point favorites. So Ace, we'll start with you. Bengals hosting the Eagles. What do you think?
If the Bengals are going to make the playoffs, this is a game they're going to have to win. Right now, they're 3-4. I'd like to remind everybody they lost to the Pats at home, first game of the season. And I know that Higgins was hurt and Chase was there, but their running game is pretty bad. I feel like a fool for drafting Zach Moss in my fantasy league. I regret that deeply. And then I let go of his backup, who was taken over and started running a bunch. But if the fact that they're favored, their defense is so bad. Like they've been bad all year, and they've only really been beating bad teams. And they let the Pats get a win on them. So if the Eagles can get their offensive right, because AJ Brown is back, so that should be a huge difference maker for them. And Saquon can move them chains, so he's picking up first downs. Like man's averaging something crazy like 5.5 or 6 yards to carry. The only player running the ball better than him is Derrick Henry, who has 800 yards through 7 games, which is amazing. So I'm leaning towards the Eagles on this one, but I want to watch this game, but I do not want to bet it. I have no idea who's going to win, but I'm leaning towards the Eagles because of how bad Cincinnati's defense has been. So give me the Eagles, and I'm going to take the over.
All right, Ant.
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm going to take the under in this one. You said it earlier, Ace, that Cincinnati needs to start winning games so they can start getting in the playoffs. Cincinnati knows how to be a playoff team. They actually have the quarterback and the receivers and most of the players that's on the team that has been to the playoffs, and they know what they need to do. They're usually a type of sneaky type of team that will come back at the end, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be surprised. This is one of the teams that they put under their belt as far as quite getting the win on this one. I don't really think that the Eagles are having everything together yet. They did a nice, impressive job, and I was loving every minute of it. I had my feet up, eating popcorn, watching them stomp all over the Giants last week. But this week, I think they take a step back and get this loss. So I'm taking the Bengals, and I'm taking the under. This is going to be my fourth lock of the week.
Ant took one of my locks. I was hoping that I'd have my own individual lock here, but I'm taking the Bengals and I'm locking this as well. I just don't trust Jalen Hurts. I just don't trust. I don't trust Jalen Hurts as a passer in a situation where I expect the Bengals to score some points.
So you're telling me you believe that much in this game that the Bengals is going to crush?
I expect the Bengals are going to score points, and I think that
all right.
So far, this even with all of the weapons that have been that the Eagles have added, they just haven't looked great. They haven't looked explosive. The only person that's looked explosive on this offense thus far has been Saquon Barkley. And I know AJ Brown just came back off of injury, and Devontae Smith just came back off of injury, and they're still figuring things out. And Dallas Goedert is still there, and so like the amount of weapons and the amount of targets are still definitely there. But Jalen Hurts has never really impressed me. I mean, this. Jalen Hurts has never really impressed me as a thrower of the football, and he doesn't at this point. So maybe it'll take some time before they, until they're able to figure it out from that perspective, and maybe later on in the season they'll really be clicking on all cylinders. But right now, against a Cincinnati team that we know can score points in bunches and they're at home, I like this. I like the Bengals. And this is a small enough number that I think that they can win this game by at least 5 points, if not more. So I'm definitely going to rock with the Bengals here, and I'll take the over, and I'm locking this in. So yeah,
I think Hurts is missing his magic center. That retired. He's missing that magical guy that can help it with the tush pushy.
Yeah, and I'm not, and this is not to say that Hurts is a bad quarterback or anything along those lines. I just don't see him make those big time throws in big time games, at least not yet. Maybe he just doesn't have the chemistry yet with his receivers who just came back.
Yeah, I don't think he's bad either. I just think he's not elite. That's just
Yes,
my
I
opinion.
agree. He's an elite athlete, but he's not an elite quarterback thrower of the football. All right,
Wow.
Saints at Chargers. Chargers are giving 7.5 points to the Saints. Saints are still without quarterback Derek Carr. This offense is looking relatively anemic. Rashid Shaheed, their do everything receiver, punt returner, kick returner, is out for the season. Chris Olave is dealing with a concussion. This team is just in shambles and looking nothing like the team that was 2-0 at the start of the season and had scored 40 points in their first 2 games. Meanwhile, the Chargers just lost last week their Monday night game against Arizona in a game that I don't think a lot of people watched it, but if you did watch it, the Chargers probably should have won that game. They kind of had some control over that game, and they let Kyler Murray steal it away from them. And it's kind of who the Chargers are. It's kind of who the Chargers have been over the course of the last few years. I know they were hoping Jim Harbaugh would come in and change that and change the dynamic of this team. He has to some degree. This team is definitely a little bit more, feels like they're a little bit more physical, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of a that kind of identity. But they still just can't seem to get over that hump yet. So, but they're playing against a banged up Saints team and they're giving 7.5 points. So, Anthony, I'll start with you here. Chargers hosting the Saints -7.5. What are you thinking?
-7.5. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one. I'm not going to make this a lock, but the thing is that I don't trust the Saints. I don't trust the quarterback for the Saints on this one, and that's the reason why I'm going to take the Chargers and take the under in this one. I saw a little bit of that game, whatever, and like I said, I don't think anything's gonna happen really. They're missing Chris Olave. I don't know if he's gonna be playing. Even if he does play, I don't really think the Saints is gonna really pull off anything on this one. It's unfortunate to see this, but hopefully they can turn things around. Carr can come back as soon as possible. But give me the Chargers and give me the under.
I'm
You're on
here.
mute, Malik.
No, it's Ace. I'm going.
Oh no, Ace is up. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what you told me. I'm not. I'll edit this out. Whatever.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I can't pick the Saints because no one's healthy. I don't think the quarterback. I don't think he's actually as bad as I thought he was. Like I saw him play a little bit, and some of the highlights from the last game. He's not terrible. It's just Olave's got a concussion, and Shaheed is out. And I think they just signed somebody who was out of the league or off of somebody's practice squad. So it is not looking great for them. Alvin Kamara got a 2-year extension, so I don't know. Maybe he can be their entire offense again. But the problem with that is that the Chargers have a really good pass rush. So it's not even just Mac, because Mac's on the rush, like they've been doubling him, but it's been letting Joey Bosa get free. And then they got Derwin James back there playing like it's 1997, handing out head injuries to people. So it's not looking good for the Saints to win this game. But 7.5 is a lot for me to buy into the Chargers. But I'm picking the Chargers, and I think they should win. I don't know if they'll cover though, but I'm kind of tentative on that. But I would definitely take the under on this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I tend to agree here on the under. I feel like just kind of the way that the Chargers play their game here, the way that they approach the game with just running the football and controlling the clock and running the clock down. Not a lot of passes. Don't try to don't try to force the ball into bad situations. Don't try to force um, Justin Herbert to score a lot of points. They've only scored the most that they've scored this season was 26 points. The Chargers against in their opening win against Carolina. This is the team that scored 10, 10, 23, and 15 points over the last few weeks. And they did score 22 in their first game of the season against the Vegas Raiders. So this team just doesn't score a lot of points. So that's why I think the under is the best bet here for these two teams. 39.5 right now. I think this number just stays relatively low, especially if New Orleans isn't able to bring back any of their guys. But New Orleans has lost 5 straight. And they've looked really bad in all those situations, and they've just gotten more and more and more unhealthy. And that just does not bode well for this team. So I'll take the Chargers. I don't like this number because it's 7.5 points for a team that doesn't score very well. Just doesn't feel good. But I'll take the Chargers. I think they'll win the game. I won't lock it in though. The Chargers and the under. I do think that the under is the best bet. Bills at Seahawks. The Bills are giving 3 points to the Seahawks. I think we mentioned a little bit earlier the Seahawks coming off of a big win, unexpected win in Atlanta. Geno looking like, a top 3 NFC quarterback again. And the Seattle defense did just enough to keep the Falcons off balance. They only gave up 14 points of offense in that game, and they were able to control things pretty much all the way through. Meanwhile, the Bills handled their business against Tennessee last week. Started off a little bit slow, but towards the end of the game, they were pretty much handling business, and they wound up with a blowout. The Bills are giving 3 points here, as I mentioned, to the Seahawks, and looks like each week, you expect the rapport between Josh Allen and Amari Cooper to just get a little bit better and a little bit better, a little bit better each week until eventually things just really, really click for them. But I think this is a really good game, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So Anthony, I'm going to start with you. Bills, Seahawks. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Seahawks on this one. Get back on their bandwagon. Yes, this is definitely me getting back on the bandwagon week versus Detroit, not Seahawks. But I like what they basically did last week, and Geno's back to turning back to how good he was again. You already mentioned that, but also the Bills is little by little they have to get themselves together and see how they will go with this new formed offense here with Amari Cooper and stuff like that. And I think it's going to take some time on that one. I also think that the Bills, technically, even with Amari Cooper, is not the same Bills of old, the ones that lost to KC in the playoffs and stuff like that under KC's way to the Super Bowl type of team. So I just want to see how things go with them right now, and I'm going to go with the Seattle, and I'm taking the under this one.
All right, Ace.
Yeah, I didn't hear much of what y'all was saying in the background there, but I believe more in Seattle than I do in Buffalo. And that is a long flight, man. That is literally the opposite side of the country. That is all the way on the other end of I-90. Everybody in Buffalo and Seattle, y'all know that road. I don't see Buffalo being able to figure out their offense in a week. Seattle's defense is getting better. They were young last year and they're much better this year. And I actually think that they're going to make the playoffs. So I'm leaning towards Seattle to be able to win this one, especially because they're at home.
I'm interested because I think the Bills are a really good football team, and they should be able to. I like really good football teams getting points, even on the road, even against a good
I hear you
opponent
on
like the
that.
Seahawks.
They should be able to win, but it's the fact that and also, you know what? I should have mentioned this. I think what's his name? Not I think. I know that Metcalf is dealing with an injury. But Jackson
Yes.
Smith and Jigba have stepped up, and he's made it possible for them to win without it. And aren't they coming off of their bye?
Who, Seattle?
Right?
Seattle? Seattle? No, Seattle
Yeah.
won last week. Seattle played last week against Atlanta. In Atlanta,
Seattle
yeah.
won last week against Atlanta.
Yeah.
So they should be able to hang with Buffalo, and I think they have a little bit of an advantage on the defense. And their offensive line is actually playing a lot better than they were last year. So that's why I like them because they're at home. But I'm not gonna lock this one in. I got like 3 more games to lock in for the
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna mention the Metcalf injury and that being a bit of a sore spot for Seattle. Like you said, Ace, it didn't seem to bother them last week against Atlanta, but I definitely think that it could bother them against the Bills. The Bills' biggest issue, in my opinion, so far has not really been the offense. It's been the fact that their defense is just so young and so raw and hasn't really, been able to, catch its footing yet. I think Seattle is a really good team. They're a really good starting team, and they're able to get off the ball and score points quick and make things difficult for Buffalo. But I think the Buffalo Bills cover. So I'm going to take the Bills and the over here. I just like a cover here for Buffalo, for them to keep this game close. Potentially lose it out at the end. Last second field goal by Jason Myers or something like that, and the 12s get to them. But I think the Bills can at the very least keep it within the number. So I'll take the Bills and the under. Actually, correction. Sorry. The Seahawks are the underdog in this one. The Bills are giving 3 here. So I'm actually like the Seahawks as well. I thought the Bills were getting points. They're not. They're giving points. I don't like that. I don't want the Bills giving points to anybody. I don't want the Bills giving points to the Seahawks. So I'm going to take the Seahawks in the over. Apologies. All right. Ace, this is your game. Game of the week for Ace. The Chicago Bears at the Washington Commanders. Now, this a little real quick note here. I wish Jaden Daniels was not dealing with a rib injury. I wish that wasn't the case, but he is. And so a little bit of the luster has been taken off of this game just because of the injury situation. That doesn't mean he won't play, but at least expect that he won't be 100%, which probably bodes well for that Chicago Bears defense. If I was Washington and Dan Quinn, I probably wouldn't play him against that Bears defense. But needless to say, expect him to be out there. Washington Commanders 5-2, hosting the Chicago Bears at 4-2. Bears coming off of their bye. Ace, who you got? Bears are 1.5-point favorites in this game.
Yeah, I know. I'm locking in the Bears. Because Jaden Daniels won't be 100%, and the fact they may have to go to a backup, like the Bears really got a pretty good pass rush. And Montez Sweat going back to the team that traded him, revenge game right here. You know what I mean? Like they traded him, he got paid, so he's gonna be happy. And I know it's a different organization, but trust me, payback's payback. He's gonna want to get his get back. And Jalen Daniels, listen, they were sorry for the right player. It's really working out for them. And Caleb Williams was coming into his own, and they had time to prepare for this for an extra week. I imagine that defense got healthier, which is gonna, which made it easy. It's gonna make it easier for them to cover those receivers. And Terry McLaurin doesn't scare me. So yeah, I'm taking the Bears. They should win this by a touchdown, and it should be easy. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that homeboy's hurt only makes it even easier. Rib injuries make it harder to throw. So yeah, it's gonna be a problem for him.
Yep, he didn't play. He didn't practice on Thursday. We'll see if he practices on Friday or if they just continue to keep him out and maybe hold him until the
Who's the
start of the
backup
game.
if he doesn't go?
That's a good question.
Is it no? They traded the guy who started the QB for
Mariota.
them last year.
It's Mariota.
Oh yeah,
Mariota.
I'm locking the Bears, folks.
Yeah,
Lock it in.
I just didn't notice I was on mute, but Mariota was actually killing it last week. I was pissed.
Well, the interesting thing about the Mariota thing is that, and a lot of people were talking about it, post game. He's basically the same type of player as Jaden Daniels in terms of he's not as effective, he's not as good as Jaden Daniels, but they don't have to. The one thing that they said is like they don't have to make any changes whatsoever in terms of their offensive game plan if they have to go to Mariota if Daniels is out there is not healthy or not able to go, and that's good, right? Nothing changes. Nothing is different. But again, you have the less effective quarterback out there on the field. But at the very least, you have a quarterback who can run the game plan exactly the way it's expected to be. So, but Ant, over to you. Bears giving 1.5 points on the road at Washington. Who do you think?
I'm gonna have to go against Ace on this one. I do like the Bears, but the thing is that I did thanks to my fantasy thing of starting what's the name, and he got hurt and got pulled. What's the name? Mariota was actually played kind of good last week. So even if he does play this week, I wouldn't be surprised if he won't lose a step. So I'm going to take Washington. Give me the under in this one. The Bears can still pull out the win, but I still want to pick a Washington on this one as far as for betting is concerned.
Yeah, I'll take Washington as well. But I'm taking them under the expectation that Jaden Daniels plays. I think if Jaden Daniels plays, this game plays close, and that I want the home dog. If he doesn't play, despite everything I said about Mariota, I think I want to take the Bears in this one. That's probably why I'm not going to pick this game at all, because expect the decision around Jaden Daniels' availability to be, relatively close to game time. So if you're not able to get this, early enough, I would stay away from this. I've actually already seen this number move up to 2.5 as well.
Yeah.
So at
If
1.5,
Chicago is going to
yeah, go
make the
ahead.
playoffs, this is a game they got to win.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely don't disagree with that. But I think Washington is going to be a tough out. They're a tough out at home. They're a difficult team to play, in their house. And if Jaden Daniels is there, I think this is a very, very, very interesting game, very fun game to watch. The Bears are getting healthy too, so that's also a feather in their cap. But I'll take the Commanders in the over, assuming that Daniels plays. Panthers at Broncos. Broncos are a 9-point favorite hosting the Panthers. Panthers are just a mess right now. It's very convenient that, uh, right when the Panthers are thinking about moving back to Bryce Young as their quarterback, that Andy Dalton gets himself into a car accident. He's not hurt, but his hand is broken, and now he can't throw the ball anyway. So just really good fortune for a kid in Bryce Young who, if he does have a bad game, it's not like they can go to the backup because the backup can't throw because he got in a car accident. So whatever. I'm not saying that Mrs. Bryce Young wasn't behind the wheel of the other car that hit Andy Dalton. I'm not saying that she wasn't, but I'm saying that this is just a really good situation for the Panthers to lean on. That said, the Broncos are the third ranked defense in the NFL for a reason, because they're really good on that side of the ball. They haven't been able to score very well. That hasn't been much of a problem for them. They have a winning record right now, if I'm not mistaken. They're 4-2, 4-3. Yes, 4-3. And Sean Payton has these guys playing pretty well. So I'm going to take the Broncos in the under here, and I'm kicking it over to you. Broncos -9 against the Panthers. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos as well. I'm taking the under as well, just like you stole from me. I stole from you. You stole back from me on this one. But anyway, I'm going to take the Broncos. I'm going to take the under this one. I don't trust Bryce Young. Hopefully, quite being on the bench for a little bit, help them out a little bit. I doubt it. He might have to get refreshed to a different team. Hopefully, sooner or later, maybe he would have been on the trading block. And what's the name? They get ran over, but or whatever happened on that part. I'm just saying ran over exactly what happened in that car accident. But I'm gonna just to make it short and sweet, just gonna take the Broncos. I'm not gonna lock this in, but this is gonna be a fun game not to watch. Broncos and under.
Ace.
Ace gonna
I'm
take the
still on
Bears.
mute. No, take the Bears. I already told you to take the Bears. I'm locking in the Panthers. They're getting 10
Of
points.
course
I
you
don't
are.
believe in the Broncos. Sean Payton is a fraud. Give all the credit to Drew Brees, and he only won one. So I don't know what to tell you.
Dang, I
You know
thought
who
I
else
hated
won
on
one
Sean
Super
Payton.
Bowl? You know who else won one Super Bowl? Brian Billick. We don't talk about him like a legend like we do with Sean Payton. So I
Wow.
don't know what to tell you. I don't know why he gets so much extra credit for winning a Super Bowl with the Saints, just because the Saints used to be sorry.
Because he
They
he
got
he
a good
dug Bruce
quarterback.
he dug Bruce
What?
Drew Brees out of the dirt. Drew Brees
Yeah,
got
okay.
thrown away by the Chargers,
He
and
had a good quarterback. He had a top 5 running back at the time with my man out of USC, Reggie Bush. They had great wide receivers. He
He had a
had
great
great players
team.
all around.
He had a great team.
Name one wide receiver on the Broncos.
Cortland
Exactly.
Sutton.
Exactly. And he
Cortland
had 0
Sutton.
catches last week. He had 0
He
catches
did.
last week.
He did. He did not
Yeah.
have a good game last week.
The Panthers are trying to keep their jobs. They're trying to get healthy, and I guarantee Bryce Young will play better. He has had time to sit back, and he realizes it's not guaranteed. And he is going to go in there, and he's going to try to beat the brakes off of the Broncos. The quarterback for the Broncos is 2 years older than Bryce Young. This is Bryce Young's second year in the league. That guy's a rookie. So he's playing against a vet in one way or another. So Bo Nix, I got to be honest, like I never thought he was going to be a good pro, but yeah, I don't see them covering this number. So even if they do win, they're not going to cover. They just not. I don't see how that happens. Maybe the air is thinner up there, so maybe it'll help the other team get tired. But yeah, Carolina's a bunch of pros, man, and they don't want to be embarrassed. So I see Bryce Young getting something done and keeping them in the game, keeping them close. And Chuba Hubbard's going to run all over them.
Well, the air
Pick
is
him
definitely
in daily
thinner.
fantasy.
The air is definitely thinner, and I heard from some player. I can't remember. It was a player who was on a podcast recently, either last week or the week before that, talking about his experience playing in that weather and how much it affected him, not just in that one game, but over the course of his career following that. So that definitely is a factor, plays a factor in the game. Don't necessarily know it plays plays an outcome in whether or not they win or lose, but it definitely is there. All right, Chiefs at Raiders. Ace, I'm gonna start with you here. The Chiefs are 9.5 point favorites. They made a trade of their own earlier this week, acquiring DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans, and for
Yeah,
a conditional, I think, fifth round pick it was. So
fifth and a fourth.
they
I heard.
yeah, so they bolster their wide receiver core to some degree. This Chiefs
Bolster.
team,
They finally got a healthy one. You mean?
well, that's bolstering it. So if it means they got one, that means they're improving it. This Chiefs team is coming off of a victory against San Francisco in San Francisco last week, where Patrick Mahomes did not throw a touchdown, did throw 2 picks, but he ran in 2 touchdowns, which is probably the you know which was the linchpin for them winning that game. But the main thing is the Chiefs defense is still really, really good. One of the top defenses in the league, if not the top defense in the league.
Yes.
And that's been
Top five.
handling business for them over the course of this season. You got to
And
expect that at
Travis
some
Kelce
point in
is
time.
healthy.
You got to expect at some point in time that the Chiefs Chiefs offense will come alive and start making some plays. But in the meantime, their defense is holding it down. So Chiefs at Raiders. The Chiefs are 9.5 point favorites. Ace, who do you got?
Locking in the Raiders. The Raiders beat them last year for no good reason. And the man who is now on the Jets through the power of friendship is now no longer there. He didn't even play that well. So now it's going to rely on Aiden, not even Aiden O'Connell, because I don't think he can go. The Raiders
No,
had to
he's out.
sign. Yeah, the Raiders had to sign. Who was that quarterback who used to be in Atlanta? They signed somebody off of Arizona's practice squad.
Desmond Ritter.
Ritter. Desmond Ritter got signed off the practice squad. So they're not in a great situation with their QB. But I believe in Gardner Minshew. And listen, they named him the starter the first couple of weeks. The guys in there should have faith in him or O'Connell. O'Connell played pretty well during the last, but he's not healthy. So I think that Antonio Pierce is coaching for his job, and at the very least, he got a chance to be a head coach. But for whatever reason, I think Kansas City is not losing focus. They know they have to improve. The fact that they're undefeated is amazing. It's not just the defense; it's just the fact that whoever they play against just cannot capitalize. Like San Francisco could not capitalize on all the mistakes that the other team was making. I think it's because their running back was out. I don't even know who's starting at running back for them right now, Raiders. But White was not getting it done. They should have paid Jones his money. They did not want to do it. That was a mistake. Maybe their number one wide receiver will be able to get it done for them. Maybe they'll just throw, Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers out there and just go double tight end sets. 12 personnel. People love to criticize Mina Kimes for saying, but 12 personnel from 2 tight ends the entire game and just power down the field. But yeah, there's no way they're beating the Raiders by 9 points with Matt Crosby on Patrick Mahomes all day. So yeah, give me the Raiders, lock that in +9.
All right, Ant. You're muted, Ant.
Yeah, I was saving my final lock for this. I'm going the opposite way. This is the completion of the copy and paste of the Patriots over here. They got Hopkins now, who's going to be their Randy Moss basically on this team. I don't know how good he's going to be as far as doing his Randy Moss impersonation, but he's going to open up this offense a lot. So I'm going to quite release said that they sooner or later the offense is going to start kicking in. They have to kick in sooner or later down the road. I think it's going to be this game. This is going to be a beatdown. I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs or Kansas City refs, or whatever, and I'm going to take this is going to be my final lock of the week, my fifth lock of the week, and I'm taking the over. This is going to be a beatdown. I'm telling you, this is what the Kansas City Chiefs want.
You got to cut this madness out. The refs are not cheating for them. As bad as Mahomes is playing, they just somehow keep getting 3 and 4 point victories. And watch that ends
Listen,
this week and they lose their first game to a team they got no business losing to. Watch.
somehow,
Watch.
quotes on that, somehow. But anyway, I'm going to go to Kansas City Refs, and I'm going to take the over this one. This is going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be my final lock of the week.
So I'd say surprisingly, the Chiefs, even though their offense hasn't been good, they were dominant in those last two games. I mean, against New Orleans, they won that game by 13. But if you watch that game, from beginning to end, they dominated that game completely. And then against San Francisco, if Patrick Mahomes doesn't throw, a couple of those picks, like that game is over quickly. Like San Francisco never looked like they had any real control in that game. Look, I tend to agree, especially with you, Ace, about just heavy favorites on the road. But I kind of need the Chiefs to blow out the Raiders. I kind of need them to beat the living daylights out of the Raiders, because maybe what I'm hoping is that, by getting their asses handed to them on TV, like maybe
I know what's going to happen.
maybe that
not
convinces
happening.
Max Crosby to go to the GM and say, hey,
it's not happening. It's not
There's
happening.
some lines over there.
Hassan Reddick.
I don't want to. He says he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild, and maybe just getting your asses handed to you by the Chiefs. Just
Ace, the Lions couldn't get Hassan Reddick because there was what's the name? A poison pill in that trade the Jets made with the Eagles. But yeah, let's go back to Malik's dream over here. Let's go back to Malik's dream.
Nudges them a little bit over, just a little bit over. It says, you know what? I'm done.
Chase Young is available, so you could still get him out of New Orleans. I'm pretty sure they'll part with him for third round.
He's a fourth option. Let's see what Max decides to do after this. So I kind of need the Chiefs to win this game. So I'm taking the Chiefs. This is me voting with my heart. I'm taking the Chiefs and I'm locking this in. No, did I lock this in? I don't think I locked this in, but I'm taking the Chiefs and the over as well.
I locked in the Raiders, right? So I got the Raiders and I got the two other dogs, right? I got the Raiders and the Panthers.
Yeah, good luck with that, Ace.
The Bears. Yeah, the Raiders, the Panthers. Actually, you have 6 locks right now. You have the Raiders, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Jets, and the Falcons. That's
all right.
Ace
got 6 locks.
Done.
Let's all have 6 locks this week. Since Ace can have 6 locks.
I'm making up for you and Levon only picking 2 and 3 games.
Hey, you mean Levon? Because I was picking only my 5 games.
All right, let's go to the next game. Sunday Night Football. Cowboys at 49ers. Just finished talking about the 49ers and them looking really, really bad against KC. But in addition to that, they're just everybody's hurt on this team. Everyone. Christian McCaffrey is out and has not played yet this season. Deebo Samuel was dealing with pneumonia and did not play, almost at all in the game, and then had to go to the hospital for that situation. Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL and MCL, and he is now out for the season. Anybody that could potentially, Jawan Jennings was hurt and didn't play much during the game.
Is he practicing this week?
I believe he is practicing. But then George Kittle
Ricky Pearsall is healthy,
dealing with an ankle. Ricky Pearsall did play. He had 3 catches in his first game as a receiver, as a player in the NFL.
Recovering from a gunshot.
I do find it hilarious that whoever created the meme or the picture this week that said Ricky Pearsall got shot in the chest and still came back before Christian McCaffrey. That was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious.
That's ice cold right there. That's so unnecessary.
He got 50 Cent shot, he still came back.
Oh gosh. The internet just wins all the time. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are coming off of their bye. We all know how their last game ended. We don't have to rehash that, especially not for Cowboys fans. But they are.
But wait, isn't McCaffrey coming back from Germany after he got whatever he got done to his Achilles?
He's not cleared to play, so assume that he's not playing today. He's not cleared to play. So assume he's not going to be out there this weekend. Yeah, I'm not seeing any prop bets, anything with him being listed as coming back. So
yeah, he can come back for the playoffs. I need him to stay away from fantasy, because I got the backup running back. So I got the guy who's playing now, Mason, whatever his name is.
But the Cowboys, interestingly enough, I think the Cowboys, one of the things about the Cowboys that there was conversation that they would be all healthy and good to go by the end of coming back after their bye. Michael Parsons is still not practicing. He did not practice he did not practice on Thursday, and he is not. He's still listed on the injury report. So Cowboys may still be without their best two pass rushers in Demarcus Lawrence and in Dexter Lawrence. And no, is it Dexter or DeMarcus? I don't know which one. Whichever Lawrence plays for the Cowboys, he ain't playing, and Michael Parsons is likely out as well. So this game may just be closer than you expect, because Purdy's not. If this is the type of game where Purdy really supplants himself and lets the world know that he's worth the $55 million that needs to be invested in him, or they just get boat raced by a Cowboys team that finally has figured their shit out with a week off to game plan better, which is basically what Jerry Jones said that they can't do. So Cowboys at 49ers. The Cowboys are 4.5-point favorites in this game. Ace, who do you got?
All right. I just want to preface the 49ers are at home, right? After they already lost to Kansas City at home, 18-28.
Yes.
Beat the Seahawks in Seattle, lost to Carolina, lost to Arizona, lost to the Rams. So they're not even leading their division. And the Rams are winning this game right now, which means they're going to be leading the division.
Yep.
Two things I want to point out. Dak Prescott has $60 million coming to him this year. He has 8 touchdowns and 6 picks. Brock Purdy, $790,000, 9 TDs and 7 interceptions. Similar production. Okay? CeeDee Lamb makes a boatload of money. All of Brock Purdy's receivers make a bunch of money, but they're all hurt. Juwan Jennings has 3 touchdowns in 1 game. If he can play, if he can practice this week, he was a non-participant in practice today. Good Lord. So his hip is still hurt. CeeDee Lamb is healthy. Brock Purdy is healthy. Jordan Mason has 666 yards. Rico Dowdell has 246. One thing that's really hurting their chances of being able to win this game, forget the defense. Cowboys can't run the ball. If you can't run the ball against San Francisco, you are going to get beat down. Okay? Kareem Hunt was huge for them last week for the Chiefs. So just on the strength of that, I got to take San Francisco at home getting points. I don't care if they're throwing all of them to Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle on one foot. They will win this game. They're getting points at home. Mr. Irrelevant is going to become the most relevant quarterback in San Francisco since Steve Young was there. Okay? He's better than Jeff Garcia, and that guy dragged him to the playoffs, and he took him to the Super Bowl last year. So I'm pretty confident they can get by as long as Debo can come back. Debo had pneumonia, which shows me how crazy these football players are when they're trying to play. Like, you got water in your lungs, and you're out there on the field. Like, y'all are insane. Y'all don't. I don't know. Y'all, when they say they build different, they really are. And I believe them now when they say NBA players couldn't play in the NFL, because ain't nobody trying to play an NBA game on the flu game was food poisoning. No one's out there with walking pneumonia playing in the NBA game. Y'all are insane. But I guess you definitely feel like you owe it to your teammates to be out there. And after you get paid, you're like, fuck it, I got the bread, so let's go do this. So just on the strength of that and how much San Francisco wants it, I'm betting on them. I'm gonna take San Francisco to cover this and to win this game.
He's picking San Francisco outright. And what about you?
Dude, in the NBA game, you can get a paper cut and you out for the couple of games. But
Stop it.
I'm gonna, it's true.
They're getting points too. They're getting points. I'm gonna take them. I don't get the points, but I bet them money line.
But I agree with you, Ace. I'm taking San Francisco. I'm taking the under in this one. I don't trust the Cowboys. The Cowboys just a better version of my New York Jets. They got the same cuckoo type of owner. They got the same. Well, at least we a little bit better than them at running back, but they're a little bit better as in quarterback as of right now. They got a better offensive line or whatever, but they're still the same old mix of quite a bag full of names and not a real team, in my opinion, just like my Jets. So I'm going to go with 49ers. You can get a bunch of backups and stuff like that with the 49ers. They can walk in wounded and beat this team. So I'm going to take the 49ers, and I'm going to take the under. And since Ace had 6 locks, it's going to be my 6th lock of the week.
All right. right.
You want the extra lock? You really do.
Yes, we need the extra lock. Maybe we might grandfather this in. We never know.
I forgot how many I had, man. I wouldn't do that on purpose.
Quick correction on the line here, guys. The 49ers are actually the favorite in this one. It's actually the 49ers minus 4.
Better money line anyway. Then they should win.
Yeah. Are we not them boys? We not them boys, guys? Like them boys are done?
How about them Cowboys? Listen.
But that meme is coming back.
Look.
We got 2 Cowboys fans who listen to this. So shout out to my sister and Curtis. But yeah, don't watch this game. Do something else Sunday night. Go out to the movies or something.
But Ace, guys, I mean, here's the thing. Do we think that the Cowboys season is over?
No,
Because
but they don't have to win this. They're 3-3. So even if they lose this game, they're just where San Francisco is.
Well,
San Francisco's 3-4.
That's the thing. To me, and I'll let you answer in a second. To me, the Cowboys, the NFC East has to be won. Like the only representative in the playoffs out of the NFC East will be the champion of the NFC, based
Correct.
off of what we're seeing. And if there is a chance for another team to come out of there, you're talking about the Eagles, right? The Eagles are what, 4-3 or 5-2, like that.
I think the Eagles will win the division ultimately.
So if the Eagles are, 4-3 or 5-2, the Cowboys lose this game, there'll be 2 games, a solid 2 games behind both the Eagles and Washington, and losers of 3 straight. Like,
correct.
That's just not, like, to me, that's almost saying, that's just like really, really flashing a red flag.
We can get into the playoff picture after we make the picks real quick. We could do that.
Yeah, I think we'll have to. I just feel like the Cowboys have to win this game in order to just to be respected again. Like, they just lost 47-9. Like, they got boat race at home. They've looked bad at home. You got Jerry Jones calling out anybody and everybody he can possibly call out, except for himself because he's the GM. The team is just in so much disarray. Like, it just feels like on Sunday Night Football, they have to come out and play a big game, and they come out and play a big game against the 49ers team that just doesn't have the bodies. I'm going to take the Cowboys. I'm going to take the Cowboys, and I'll get the 4.5 points here. Not locking it in, but I definitely feel
serious?
Like this is a game they have to win. They have to win this
game. How they going to win?
If they don't win this game, like, San Francisco has nobody. Ace, just like what you were just talking about.
They'll score a defensive touchdown and just win this joint 10-7.
But Ace, you were just talking about not knowing who the receivers are on what team was that? Was that
on the Raiders?
Broncos. Or the Raiders.
On the Raiders and the Broncos, yeah. Cortland Sutton got no passes. He's their number 1 receiver.
Like, if not for the fact that Ricky Pearsall is a rookie and got shot, would we really know who the receiving weapons are for the San Francisco 49ers if all of these guys don't play? Samuel, Ayuk, Kittle.
No, but Debo's out of the hospital, so he should be good to go.
Yeah, he's not practicing, so we'll see what happens there. But it's hard to imagine the Cowboys, who are, who should be healthier coming out of their bye week, are just not able to at least play with the 49ers. They're getting 4.5 points, for goodness sake, and not even winning it outright. If they lose this game, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
They firing McCarthy, yeah.
It's a wrap. So I'm going to
pick what do you got to say?
I don't think it's a wrap. But Ann already picked the 49ers. So
yeah, I already picked the 49ers. When Malik was talking about if they can actually win the division, I was just going to say maybe, because it's a solid toss-up right now, especially with Washington, Wilson and Daniels being hurt. But yeah, just a toss-up on that one as far as them actually getting in there. That's all I was going to say. I don't really say that much.
LA's about to win this game. That moves them to 3-4. It moves Minnesota to 5-2. It's about to fall apart for them. They're talking about trading straight up Darnold for Matt Stafford. Okay?
And
that's how left they see it going.
And after this game, I think that there's no way on God's earth, if you're the
Rams, that ain't happening.
Matt Stafford. Like, there's no way.
There ain't no trading happening.
You give me 2 first-round picks, you can have them.
There ain't no trading happening.
I mean, that's...
They can push for a playoff again with how this game looks.
that's possible. But Ace, even on top of that, like if you're the Rams, you could win this division. Seattle's not that. Seattle ain't scary. Win this division. San Francisco's looking bad. They're hurt. You're just getting a little bit healthier. You got Nakua, you got Cup, you got Nakua, you got a good young solid defense. I just learned something. Like they're starting 16 rookies. They have 16 rookies in their defense. Not starting, but they have 16 rookies in their like on their defensive side. Like, this is like they're rebuilding on the fly. It's crazy how they're doing this. And they're winning. But anyway, last game of the week. The New York Football Giants, or as Ace likes to call them, the New Jersey Giants, are going to Pittsburgh to play Russell Wilson and the Let's Ride Steelers. He's not saying it's going to be, I'm just going to go with his old adage of Let's Ride. It's the Let's Ride Steelers. Let's do that. I'm just going to rock with that because I feel like it. The Giants at the Steelers. The Steelers are 6.5-point favorites in this game. The Giants are coming off of a bad loss against the Eagles last week, where Daniel Jones got benched. I don't know if that means that Daniel Jones is not going to play, or he's going to get benched again, or if this is the Drew Lock show in New York. But it may be soon because the Steelers are a really tough defense, and they made good quarterbacks look pedestrian and look bad. And on Monday night, when the lights are shining, and there's only one game on TV, and if you play like shit, everybody knows it. Everybody's talking about it, and it's New York City. This might be the last game for Daniel Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But the Steelers are giving 6.5 points to the Giants. And I'm gonna start with you. Who do you got?
I learned my lesson last week when the Steelers, the Jets came to Steelers town and got they behind the whoop. So I'm going to go with the Steelers in this week. I'm not going to go against Russell Wilson. I was calling him a wash. He kind of, proved me wrong there. It showed that Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more washed than him. And Mike Tomlin, there's a reason why he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach. And sooner or later. But I'm going to take the Steelers. I want to make this my 7th lock of the week. No, stop. I'm just kidding. I'm going to take the Steelers. I'm going to take the under this one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take the over in this one. I think Daniel Jones is going to get benched again. Put that in there as as a prop bet. And this might be, I think this will be Daniel Jones' last game because, he's making too much money. And the best player on the Giants is now playing for the Eagles. So put that in your stockings. Done.
Ace.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious. It's going to be "Let's steal." It's going to be his new catchphrase, I believe. He said he's going to wait on it, but I think "Let's steal" because he was playing for the Steelers. So "Let's steal." Yeah, that's what Russell's going to go with. I'm taking them and let Russ cook, man. You know what I'm saying? Like he did what he needed to do. He opened up the passing game, which opened up the running game. They're going to beat the brakes off for the Giants. It's going to be embarrassing, but yeah, I don't know why y'all gave that man $40 million a year, but it is what it is. At least you'll get a better quarterback coming out. Quinn Ewers just looks good. So does Carson Beck out of Georgia. So start looking at college football, folks. If you're a New Jersey Giants fan, you're going to have a new QB. So figure that one out. A lot of good games on Saturdays. Start watching those, I guess. I don't know. But Pittsburgh Steelers is taking this one.
Yeah, it's hard to pick the Giants here. I'm picking the Steelers as well, and I'm locking this in. This is my 5th lock of the week. Yeah, the Steelers look really good on both sides of the football now, with Russell Wilson playing, and clearly he gives that offense a dynamic throwing the football that Justin Fields just was not able to provide them. I did read something where he threw 2 touchdowns to receivers last week in one game, and that was the same number of touchdowns that Pittsburgh receivers caught in 5 games with Justin Fields. So just that remains to be said that Russell Wilson can still do some things, especially throwing the football, and adds another dynamic to that offense. And what we wound up seeing was it actually opened up the running game because Najee Harris had a really good running performance against the Jets last week. And so he should be able to do very similar things against the Giants this week. Look, at the end of the day, man, the person I feel the most sorry for, honestly, is the owner. I mean, it's hard to feel sorry for a billionaire, but it just he sounded so defeated in Hard Knocks, just kind of giving up the and like almost predicting the pain that he was going to feel with Saquon Barkley leaving the Giants, not playing for them. I remember him mentioning, as I saw a replay of the Hard Knocks clip, I remember him mentioning how he wanted Saquon's name in the Ring of Honor for the Giants, if that's what they call it. I don't know if they call it or not. But that he was like their most popular player by far, and he'd hate to see him leave, and he'd hate to see him go to an opponent. And not only did he leave, he went to an opponent. He went to the Eagles, and he cooked y'all. This can't get any worse. Doesn't sound like the Giants are going to move away from Joe Shane or Brian Dable at this moment, but after this game, they might. Steelers should win this game outright, and Monday Night Football is not going to look good. So Steelers, lock this in. All right.
That's your sixth lock?
Shout-outs. That is my fifth lock. I don't have six. I'm not like y'all. I might get a sixth one in there just to keep consistent, but right now I have five. All right. Before we get into shout-outs, let's just go over our picks, especially our best bets. Ace is taking the Cardinals, Jets, Falcons, Bears, Panthers, and Raiders. Ant is locking in the Ravens, the Lions, the Dolphins, the Bengals, the Chiefs, and the 49ers. And I am locking in the Ravens, Jets, Bengals, Commanders, and Steelers. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
If all of us are 100% on our best bets, that means you can make $10,000 on a $2 bet.
If all of us are successful on those best bets, I don't know if we have any dueling best bets here.
That would be a 12-game parlay.
I'll take a look. I think one of our best bets is dueling here. Yes, it is. We have you locking in the Cardinals and Anthony locking in the Dolphins. So that's a dueling best bet. So if you've got to make a pick between there, I hope you're right. Betting on our best bet.
Always bet on Anthony.
All right, before we roll out, let's get to some shout outs real quick. Ace, you got any shout outs to share?
Yeah. I want to shout out my championship Liberty, who won the game. I don't want to hear no crap about no bad calls. I didn't know Lynx cats ate sour grapes like that. I don't know. I don't know why they're so salty. Maybe they should go purify themselves in the pristine waters of Lake Minnetonka. That's just how I feel about the situation. Shout out to my Yankees for making it to the World Series. And, my UB Bulls did not win this past week, but they're still 4-3 and they only have one loss to Western Michigan, so they can still end up in the MAC Conference Championship game. So I'm happy about that. And shout out to Grayson McCall, who had to retire because of concussions from NC State. If y'all remember, he was the quarterback at Coastal Carolina when they were winning a bunch of games there. And he got to transfer up for his last year, and now he's going to go into coaching. So shout out to him in his college career. I enjoyed watching him play college football. And that's it for me. Oh, one last shout out. Shout out to the pitcher, left-hander, Fernando Venezuela, who passed away this week for the LA Dodgers. R.I.P.
Yeah, I was gonna call that out before we logged off as well. If you're not a baseball fan, even if you were a baseball fan in the 80s, that name was very, very anonymous, very, very famous for many different reasons, but great pitcher. And apparently a great guy as well. Did a lot for the Spanish community out there. Entire career, Dodgers. Anthony, you're up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind give a shout out to the Lions kicker, but I think you might pull him out. Shout out to him later on. But anyway, I'm going to give a shout out to Tua. Hopefully that your last concussion was the last concussion, and you don't have it again. Even though you're in a division against my team, still don't want to see that happen to any player or whatever. Hopefully they come back and play really good, except for when it's time for to play against us. in my Jets, and still don't make the playoffs, but hopefully you still have a good career and stuff like that, and good happy life or whatever. Shout out to you on that. Glad that you coming back, do what you want to do, is have fun or whatever like that. Shout outs to my favorite what's the name? My favorite fantasy player, Puka. He's got me 18 points. Puka Nakua. He got me 18 points, going pushing up to 20 maybe. I don't know if he's gonna get another score on that one, but shout outs to him. And my last shout out is to actually Jameis Wilson. Say what you want about him, finger licking and all that stuff like that, talking all the smack, maybe get a couple of picks, whatever. But, even though Deshaun Watson might be, we know what he might have actually did. He was actually a good teammate and actually stuck up for him. I like that speech that he made or whatever. Maybe it'd be a rallying cry to get his team together. And he might actually focus around him, and hopefully maybe sooner or later he'll pass Watson, and this will be Jameis Winston's team going forward. Shout out to him on that one. Yeah, that was it. I didn't really have that much.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Shout out to Salah. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
We're getting a good job again.
Old coach. Shout out to Tua. Hope you come back healthy, ready to play. Like he was definitely excited to get back into things. Able to come back, and wish him good health. Shout out to the ex-Clippers staffer who is suing the team. He was hired in 2019. I don't know his name, but he was hired in 2019 as part of the efforts to lure Kawhi Leonard to come to the Clippers. And he was promptly fired just recently in questioning the health and care of said Kawhi Leonard in the Clippers organization. And he was fired by Lawrence Frank and the Clippers organization, despite the fact that, Kawhi Leonard's still hurt. So this is the guy that you hired to kind of help bring him in to the organization. And this is the guy that you definitely, believed would be a big part of the keeping him healthy, and he questions how people are keeping him healthy, and then you fire him. So shout out to that guy. Go ahead and sue, and hope you make some money off of this, because I don't know if you're right, but clearly everybody else in the Clippers organization is wrong, because Kawhi still ain't playing, and he ain't gonna play anytime soon, and out indefinitely is a lot. I know the Knicks are dealing with Mitchell Robinson being out for a long period of time, and he seems to always be hurt, but we're not, banking our entire organization and building stadiums because of him. So, not having Kawhi is a big deal, and maybe this is not the first lawsuit that's going to happen out of the situation. Shout out to Angel Reese, Chicago Sky's Angel Reese. She extended her deal with Reebok, and she's getting a signature shoe in 2026. And after it looks like we talked about this last week, the women's game is really taking a step up. And another shoe deal, another women's star getting a shoe deal is big. We know Asia Wilson is getting her shoe deal coming out very soon from Nike. She has a shoe deal from Nike. She's having a shoe coming out from Nike. And Caitlin Clark has her shoe coming out, and we already know Sabrina Ionescu has a shoe as well. In addition to Reese, Brianna Stewart, and Sydney Colson also have shoe deals. So this is really, really good for the game. Any opportunity for them to make a little bit of extra money. We talked about how much money they don't make in the WNBA in their contracts. Any opportunity for them to make a little bit of extra money, build off of the popularity of the game and the popularity of themselves as players, I'm all for it. Shout out, as Ace mentioned, shout out to the Liberty for winning the first basketball championship in New York City since 1976. Yes, that is correct. 1976 was the last time a New York basketball team won a championship and celebrated a championship. And as a result of that, the women got to go down the Canyon of Heroes. It was really cool. It was good to watch that. I enjoyed watching it on TV. Definitely Looked like they all had themselves a great time. Shout out to Jonquel Jones, who was the MVP of the series. She did really well, and she
And
basically saved them because Sabrina Ionescu was really getting on her John Starks moment at that in that game, and it was gonna be really
seriously,
bad if they lost that game.
but she hit the most important three that mattered, and also to the WNBA Players Association, they opted out of their current contracts, so they will
Yes,
be making more money shortly because the league is making more money as the NBA's new deal was announced. So they will
yep,
likely be making more money because
yep,
currently, I think the real issue is what people always say: should they make as much as NBA players? No, stupid, they shouldn't. But they should make the same percentage. And
yes.
right now, they get about 36% of basketball-related income.
Yeah, exactly. They should make the same 50 to 51% like the players are making.
So
Absolutely.
no, but even if they
Yeah,
don't,
30
even if they
something
just
percent. That's horrible.
exactly. So that means
Yeah.
the owners are taking 65%. So even if they bump it up to, I don't know, 55-45 or 52-48, right? And they get 48%, player salaries will double. The top salary will then become $500,000. So
Yep.
then Angel Reese may actually be able to pay her whole rent off of her WNBA salary, which she said earlier in the week. They don't even pay my salary, which was
Yeah,
hilarious to
exactly.
me. It's a way to
Exactly.
talk trash to the owner, but like it probably doesn't endear you to the organization to do that. But that's put pressure on the owners to cut them some more money because she's a star player and she's bringing people and putting them in seats. Like let's
She's
keep it
basically
100. The Sky was
she's
selling
basically
out games
saying
with
that
her.
she's basically
Exactly.
saying that the WNBA is her pocket money.
It is.
Real
It's pocket
real
change for
talk. It
sure.
is though. She got
It's
an
pocket
$8 million
change for sure.
deal.
Yeah.
College.
She
She made
like I
three
said,
million in
she
college.
made like yeah, she made like millions of dollars on her NIL deal and from LSU. Whatever. Um last but not least, shout out to Jalen Brown. Um listen to his podcast interview with Stephen A. Smith, and I'll just be completely honest. I didn't know much about the guy in terms of the man. I know he's a good basketball player. He's a champion with the Boston Celtics, and he's a pretty decent individual. But the guy is really, really, really smart. On top of that, he carried himself in a very very respectful manner. Addressed the issues. Addressed the unnamed source that was talking about him later. Early late last season in the playoffs, and did it in a way that showed that he's taking the high road here. And we don't see athletes do this very often. We see athletes take a lot of time to go on Facebook and or go on X. See how old I am. Go on X and create fake accounts and go at their ops online and make TikTok videos or just do any host of silly idiotic things to address quote unquote haters. And Jalen Brown didn't do that. He went the respectful route, and I definitely respect him much more for it. Just hates because he's a Celtic, and I can't root for him in any way, shape, or form. But do respect him. So shout out to him for doing that. All right, I think we're all good, Ace. We'll see if we can get Levon's picks here and add them to
We
our
don't
group.
need
But if
those.
not,
Nope. He went one
but
on
if
one with
not,
two best bets. I went 5-0. No, I'm good.
He's just gonna pick the Giants. That's all.
I know people. Yeah, I know people liked our banter last week, and he's good for that. I appreciate him. I love him. He's one of my best friends, and I was at his wedding, and I love the guy. But yeah, he don't know ball. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that on the podcast. I'm calling him out. Maybe he'll show up next week.
Wow.
Maybe he'll defend his knowing ball title. I don't know. But right now he does not. And
Wow.
on that note, I am out.
Challenge.
peace out, everybody.
Challenge.
Enjoy the
Peace.
week. Enjoy the week. Later.
Wow.